All right. Welcome back to the Run.down post-game show on the Strickland YouTube channel as well as the Strickland Podcast Network if you're listening to this the day after. Knicks win 118 to 111 versus the Utah Jazz to everyone's surprise. Um Pretty good game from Jalen Brunson, I would say, leading the way for this team.
That's an
Um
understatement.
Yeah, understatement. Yeah, I don't have the energy to really project how well he really played, but he definitely led the way. Definitely sunned the Utah Jazz once again, um, looking like he did against them in the playoffs. We had good games from Jericho Sims, 11 and 13 off the bench with Hartenstein in foul trouble. I thought he held his own pretty well against the Utah front court. Emmanuel Quickly, 13 points off the bench in 25 minutes. Obi Toppin, 9 points, 3 for 3 from three, or 3 for 4 from three. Actually, he missed the three, but six rebounds, 4 assists. I thought he played pretty well in his limited minutes off the bench. But yeah, I mean, the usual suspects. Oh, I didn't even mention Cam Reddish in the starting lineup, 19 points. He also put together a solid stretch of games recently, so that's
As a
very
proud member of
encouraging.
Cam fam, you can't forget about Cam.
All right. Where I don't know where this development came from, but
We here.
yeah, Tom Thibodeau, he lives another day. Um, I'm sure this win granted him like a grace period of like two more games. But yeah, how are we feeling about the win? And how are we feeling about yeah,
I'm too tired to enjoy the win.
same.
You guys are like fucking 20 years old. What do you mean
And
it's
we wake up at like 5 a.m. to go to our
so
jobs.
do I. I wake
We
up
work.
I'm up at the same time as Sam every single day. We
Son,
talk in the morning
we
mostly.
work for we work for
Uh
kids.
no, look, I thought it was obviously a great win. We haven't won in Utah in what? I don't even know the last time we won. I think the last time we won in Utah, Tim Hardaway Jr. might have gone off. So it's been a
Yeah, I think
while.
I think that was a Tim Hardaway pop off.
Yeah.
Wow.
Galloway might have gone off too. Shout out Langston Galloway. But
What's the
no,
name? What's the name?
I think it was a good win. There were a lot of good performances from a lot of players that I want to potentially have on the team for a while. And then there was another guy who played like crap, who's played like
I,
crap the entire year, and the Knicks overcame that, and that's fine. Like that's what it is. But I don't think anybody should like see this game and be like, "Oh my god, they figured it out. Everything is fine," because they went to a 9-man rotation. I thought there was one thing that Tibbs did that I actually really liked. I liked him giving RJ like 3 stints in each half instead of two. Like he split it up. With he took him out first, kept Cam in, so quickly was in for RJ. Then he would sub out Cam for RJ, and then he took out RJ again for Cam or whatever it was, and then he closed both halves with him. But he gave him like 3 separate stints. Now, is that because he was sick and he's trying to just buy him some rest? Is that because he's trying something new? Is it something that we can bank on happening long term? I don't know. I would like the thing is that Tibbs has generally never done subs like that. So if he is now going to do that, that would be genuinely like super impressive to me, and I would be very happy about that. But like I don't trust it. And then I mean the Randall Obi stuff is just there's no point in even like it's just stupid. Like it just is stupid. You can play them together. This was a perfect game to play them together, which he did for like a minute at the end of the first half because of foul trouble. Um, they looked fine. I don't know. I just if he's never going to try it in games like this and he doesn't want to, then we are just stuck in a world where Obi will only exist to give Randall rest, even though he outplayed him tonight and he definitely should. I think he should just close the game with Obi. I definitely think he could have left him in for a bit more in both halves at the very minimum. So it is what it is. But like the final thing that I think needs to be discussed is, and also worth mentioning, quickly and Cam obviously had great games. Brunson was awesome as a closer. RJ did not have a great shooting night from the free throw line, but I thought that he battled through some stuff and he gave the Knicks something tonight, which is, it is what it is. Sometimes you have nights like that and you're sick and okay, fine. He competed for the team. Good for him. Obi was really good in his minutes. Jericho Sims was awesome tonight. He was huge for them, I thought, tonight.
I think he was their best player tonight.
Yeah, I think you could argue that. He was really, really good. He came in. I thought he was way better than Hartenstein. He played with physicality. I mean, I don't even understand like his jumping. Like, I just don't get it. But it's fantastic. And then but like all that being said, the one thing that like needs to be discussed and I think is relevant is like, is Quentin Grimes just did he not play tonight because it's the first night of a back-to-back and he's still working him back? Is he out of the rotation for right now? And like, what the hell are we doing? Because I know that the deal it wasn't as simple as like, oh, if you gave up Quentin Grimes, you got Donovan Mitchell, but it's like,
he was kind of held out of most of the conversation.
Yeah, like if
like
that was
pretty
the way,
significant if he's not playing.
Yeah, and if that's the way he was treated, like I don't care what the reasoning is for it other than an injury. If it's literally just an injury thing and he's like, we don't want to rush him back and that's what the medical staff is saying, then fine. But if this is just Tibbs being like, no, I want to take a look at this 9-man rotation, then like, again, this is just another thing that like, if that's how it's going down, then use the front office. If you allow that to happen, like you should be putting yourself at risk with that decision because you should be able to be like, Tom, get the fuck out of here. Like Grimes is in the rotation, bro. And if that's not going to be the case, then somebody's got to answer for that because
front office has no balls. That's why.
I mean, somebody's got to answer for it one way or the other because if he was really being, if they just would not, if he was the final piece, if they had everything else lined up in the trade and he was the final piece to get it done, and you said no, you can't do that, and now you're not even playing him if he is healthy, that's a problem. It would be if he's not healthy and they're just resting him, fine, then so be it. But like, that's definitely a discussion, and I think it's a concerning one.
Yeah, I hope it is a matter of like it's a back-to-back, so they don't want to rush him, and they figure that maybe they have a chance against Denver because Jokic, which is announced to be out. And I hope that was the philosophy going forward. But if it's a matter of like he's just not in the rotation after being untouchable this summer, then everybody just kind of looks like a clown. Especially when he could give you something that you've been missing, like defensive intensity and his ability to shoot the ball, both of things that you've been struggling with as a team so far in this early season. So I don't understand that logic. I hope there's more context behind it. And if there isn't, then even in a win, that's another indictment on Tibbs.
Yeah. I mean, you guys perfectly said it. I mean, Grimes offers exactly what this team lacks so severely. And if he's not playing, then I just don't understand what is going on between the front office and the coaching staff in terms of communication and like whether they're on the same page, which has been like something that the fan base has always been questioning throughout this whole tenure. It's like, are Thibs and the front office on the same page? And a lot of times it seems like they haven't been. So yeah. I do want to get into the fourth quarter because I think that's where like the tide obviously shifted. Emmanuel quickly, 8 points, I think, straight off the bat. He had like a steal and I believe an assist in that short little spurt in the beginning of the fourth quarter. Where he really brought some energy and really changed things. And then, Obi doing Obi things. And then Jalen Brunson just took it home by hitting clutch shots, isolating against Mike Conley in the post several times, just abusing him and just doing whatever he wanted. So I think that stretch right there really kind of like sealed the win for the Knicks, even though Utah did attempt a comeback. And I don't know if we want to get into why they were able to attempt a comeback.
It was Julius Randle shitting himself on the court. And if I'm saying that, it's true.
I'm glad I didn't have to say it.
He had like that. Okay, I also want to say this. It's like, look, we're gonna criticize Julius, but like him and Hartenstein together, that might be the dumbest starting front court in the NBA. Like, I don't understand what these guys, like what is going on in their head. But there was that possession. So it's 107-93. Utah comes down. They take a three. I mean, it was out of a timeout, and for some reason, MSG loves to like show us close-ups of like Will Hardy yelling or some bullshit. So we couldn't see how the play started. But all we like it. So you see the shot go up. Julius jumps up to get the rebound. He does one of those things where like he jumps up and then he like collapses in a heap and he's like throwing his elbows around trying to get a foul or something. The ball just like it rolls out to Markkanen.
His defense mechanism.
Yeah, it is his defense mechanism. But it goes out to Markkanen. And okay, so by this point, Randall's back up, and Hartenstein's like kind of there, and they both just watch Markkanen like pick up the ball, line up the seams, make sure it's like feeling real nice on his fingertips, and like he drains a three, but it's like that was ridiculous. There was one in the last, I think they're the last three they made, so it's 117-108 right after I think RJ threw an alley-oop to Cam.
Yeah.
They come down. They just run a basic. It's just like a very basic high pick and roll because they're just trying to get a shot off real quick. Or like you should be switching that, right? You either switch that or you have Brunson go over and make Conley take a difficult pull up with Brunson coming behind, or he has to drive for two. What does Randall do? Randall stands in the paint. Like he just stands in the paint and he watches. I think it was either Markkanen or Olynyk, whoever it was. Olynyk line up an open three and drain it. And he didn't once. This is not like Conley made the pass and then Randall tried to get back out there. No. Like Conley made the pass and Randall was sitting there with the finger up his ass, like just like what's around there? Like he was doing absolutely nothing. It's just I can't understand this guy. I think like at some point you can tell me the contract and the front office, but like. I think the front office's sin here, if anything, is like just not firing Tom Thibodeau. But like you can't, if you're trying to defend Tom Thibodeau's choices, like you can't defend these choices. He took Obi out in both halves. Why? Why did he do it? Because they came back with Markkanen and Olynyk. Like I'm sorry, Lauri Markkanen. I'm happy he's having a great start to his career in Utah, and Prez thinks he's like an all-star now or something. Yeah, Prez needs to be slapped in the face every time he talks about that.
Nasty ass agenda.
Jumbo wing.
It's like a racist agenda or something. I don't know.
Lord, bro.
Yeah, and then he and so like, but it's like Lauri Markkanen and Kelly Olynyk. I'm sorry, Obi's playing well. This isn't like Giannis coming into the game or something. And even if it was Giannis, like, is Randall going to stop Giannis? The point is, like, if you can't trust Obi against these guys as a coach, given what you're seeing from him and how he's playing and the way he's shooting, like, then what are you? You're not evaluating players properly. Then that's just what it is. Like, you're not evaluating players properly, and you're not giving the guy a shot. Because even if you want to bring back Randall in that situation, Obi is outplaying Hartenstein. Why do you need to bring Hartenstein back in? Just have Hartenstein sit and play them together. It's fine. Like this is the stuff with Tibbs where it's like he'll never be good enough on the margins. He never will. And even in the fourth quarter, and we should talk a little bit about this. And since I always like to take a crap on Tyrese can take a little victory lap here. But at the end of the fourth quarter, like people are like, oh, it's just so great having a point guard. And it's like, yeah, it is great having like Jalen Brunson and he's like making all these shots. But it's like that offense is garbage.
It was so
fucking nasty.
It's garbage.
It was literally let Jalen Brunson cook, and it worked. That was the worst part.
It only worked because it's like a midget Mike Conley guarding him, literally.
And it's also because Jalen Brunson is fucking him. But like, it was literally just Jalen Brunson ISO 1-4 spread picking. Like it was literally just pick and roll and spread and flat.
But then when he got Kelly Olynyk switched on him, he like settled for like a long three, and I was just like,
and then like he had the next pass to Cam, which was a good one. But I was just like, yeah, this offense is kind of garbage, and that's when you quickly should have been back in the game in order to get them a second ball handler because they were missing ball handling in that lineup, especially with RJ not being. RJ didn't feel anything. Like he had no lift in his legs. Cam was the second best player on that starting lineup, and that should not be happening in a closeout situation in the clutch. Like that should not be happening. Like I don't know why they decided to run with Hartenstein. I kind of feel like Hartenstein didn't do anything, and I'm just like, you could play Toppin, you could play Grimes. Like, you could have ran small ball with Randall if you wanted to. Just keep Randall off the court, whatever, fine. But like, it should have been IQ closing that lineup because at the very least you have the ability to contest with IQ, Cam, and RJ. Like, Hartenstein and Randall on the court at the same time achieves nothing. It's a dumb lineup. And truth be told, I don't understand what Hartenstein is going to do better than Sims. Is they're just going to play Hartenstein and drop and dump and not let him pass.
Yeah, that's my thing. That I know that Reddit post, I guess, was a joke or like a parody or something that like about Hartenstein's fiance saying that we're not using him correctly. It was like, I guess someone made a parody of Hartenstein's fiance and said that the Knicks aren't using him properly. And I think unironically that parody was kind of correct. We don't use Hartenstein at all the way that he succeeded on the Clippers. Like
the whole reason for Hartenstein is that he basically
gives you something that
he's an offensive hub. He's an offensive hub, especially from like the high post, and he's able to do things with like cutters and shooters and stuff.
And we don't utilize him like that.
And we haven't played like Nerlens Noel. No. But right, we haven't played like Taj Gibson, where he basically is playing in drop, takes the occasional corner three, and does no ball handling. And
does the floaters.
Yeah, and the floater. And like, why is he playing like that when his benefit is literally the opposite of it? Like, he should not be averaging less than an assist per game, especially when you look at him averaging 2.5 assists per game with like Cleveland, and of course, again, 2.5 assists with the Clippers last year. Like, the way he's being utilized makes no sense.
Did he even have an assist today?
I don't think he did.
Yeah, like, and just to build off this, it's not
it's like he did. He had one.
Okay, so but it's not just the lack of passing that's concerning to me. It's like you see this in a lot of stuff. I think his free throw rate is the lowest it's been. Not that he's ever been like a super high free throw rate guy, but like it's the lowest of his career, and he's taking by far the most threes of his career, 3-point attempt rate of his career. So like, to me, it looks like Tibbs is effectively using him the same as other centers, but he's also like, he probably saw him make a couple threes, and he's like, yeah, he's a floor spacer. So he sits in the corner a bunch too to, I think, create space for Randall when Randall wants to go to the rim. And it's just like,
I don't hate the logic, but it's also like, I would like to see him do more offensively than just be a floor spacer.
Yes,
because he can do more offensively.
That's what we brought him here. Like, that's the general idea of why you bring someone like that here.
So like, again, the front office basically said, okay, this is a different type of center from what we're usually running with Nerlens Noel, Taj Gibson, so on and so forth. And then you just make him Taj Gibson. And if you're going to make him Taj Gibson, why did you bring him in to not play, like, to play over Jericho Sims when Jericho Sims does what you want him to do? Like, Jericho Sims gives you a lot of what Nerlens Noel gives you, but he's also does the short roll passing. He can do stuff with his athleticism. He's just a better archetype of player for what Tibbs wants. So it just kind of feels like, again, there's a disconnect, and there shouldn't be a disconnect, especially if you're bringing in a guy whose whole thing is literally I pass ball, I shoot.
So it's not. I don't think see, that one to me isn't a disconnect. That's just like a coach who doesn't.
Being stupid.
Yeah, he. So it's like if I sign Odell Beckham, all right, and I'm just like, hey, you know what I want you to do? I want you to just go across the middle and like run to the sticks and just be like my third down receiver guy. Like, that would be a terrible use of Odell Beckham. Can he do it? Yeah,
yes,
he can do it because he's really fucking good.
So I know he'd be doing it for the Giants, but continue.
Yeah, maybe. But like, either way, so Hartenstein, can he do the things that Tibbs wants him to do?
Yes.
Yeah, he's like, he can do them. It's fine. I'm pretty sure the points per possession on any screen and roll that he is the one setting the screen, I think he is the highest like points per possession out of any of the bigs on the team. So like, he's clearly able to do those things, even if he goes about it differently, right? He's not gonna like run to the rim super hard for lobs. He kind of like has to keep that pocket open so he can get into his floater range. So he does it, and he does things well. But like, you're right. Like, you're not actually tapping into what was like kind of the reason for signing him, in the sense that he gives you some versatility at that position that you didn't have before. And if your coach can't see that, like you can tell the coach, like, hey, he does these things. I'm sure like he's aware that he's done those things, right? In with the Clippers. Like Tibbs coached with Tyronn Lue. I'm sure they have a relationship. I'm sure he talked to him about it. Like he has to be aware of these things. I think he's even talked about it, right? That he's like that he likes Hartenstein's passing and he can shoot the ball and all this stuff. Like, so he's aware of like these things that he can do. But he like this is Tibbs. This is the sum of his creativity. Like there's nothing more coming. There's just not like it's not like he's gonna add like layers to this offense and we're gonna see like all this wonderful ball movement flowing stuff. It's not gonna happen. This is what it is. And so like as long as he's here, there's really I mean, I know it's actually ridiculous that I say this, but it's like there's actually no point in getting upset about some of this stuff because it's like, what are you gonna do?
I was saying to Tyrese in the last stream, I was like, what? Like, there's nothing to be upset about anymore. Like, we know what we're getting.
Yeah, like, this is like being in Seattle, being shocked that it rains. Like, that's just kind of how it is.
Yeah.
So,
or like, just like being upset that it snows in New York City. Like
I'm not upset. Coming. Like, I'm not upset about it. I'm just kind of like
disappointed.
Yeah. I'm just. Yeah, I have the disappointment of an immigrant father. It's just whatever, dude.
All right. Before we get into comments, everyone's favorite part of the show. NBA fans, the wait is over. Basketball is back, so tip off the season with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can make any $5 NBA moneyline bet and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Check this out. In addition to the usual bets, everyone can boost their winnings up to 100% with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, and place a stepped-up same-game parlay today. With payouts bigger than ever, DraftKings Sportsbook is where I go to bet on the NBA. Okay, matchups. You know what? Let's stick with the Knicks. I will take Emmanuel Quickly and Cam Reddish's overs.
Cam Reddish 3 games in a row having a good game. You're playing dangerous money.
I am, but you know what? Why not? Scared money ain't make no money. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TBPN as you see in the corner of your screen. Make any $5 bet this week and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code TBPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes or show description for details. All right, let's get to some comments.
Yeah, you know what it is. And before everybody else starts, I coined that shit.
What?
And everybody could have said the Emmanuel Quickly shit. That was my shit. I need everybody to understand that was my shit.
It's very hard because all we remember you for is just disgusting Julius Randle standing.
Bullshit. Anyway.
Literally.
I made the Boldo like RJ video. That was fire. Anyway.
All right. So Chris, first comment we got is not Brian Bernstein or whoever used to be in here early, but shout out to him. But Chris Bernhardt, he said this was easily RJ's worst offensive game in a little bit.
He's sick.
I mean, he had this and the OKC game. I think the OKC game was far more. I don't even think the OKC game was really that bad offensively. He really didn't get a chance to even finish the game. Really, his night was over after the third quarter.
So. I don't know if he was. I don't know if he was sick during the OKC game. I think Breen said that he had been sick over the weekend too. I don't. So tonight he actually visibly looked
ill.
Yeah, he looked ill. So I'm willing to give him a pass. I would like if he could still make his free throws when he was ill, but
3 straight is unacceptable.
But you could see on the threes, it didn't look like he had much lift, or on the rim, it didn't look like he had much lift. And let's be honest, he's not exactly the most vertically explosive player anyway. So that affects him it affects him a lot. And then it didn't help that on a few of his takes in transition, Randall decided that he needed to plop himself right in the middle of the lane. So that was a little tough, but it was not a great offensive game for him. I will say I actually did like some of his passing today. I don't know if he even racked up a bunch of assists, but I thought he actually made good reads on his drives today. And it's good that he got to the line, even though he didn't convert them, obviously. That helps. And like I if this is the worst of his games and he's sick, like I'm fine with that. The OKC game was terrible because what he did is he thought he was getting fouled early in that game, driving to the rim, and so he just kept doing it and kept expecting to get fouls and putting up terrible shots, and it was like
That's
that.
what I do in 2K.
Yeah,
I don't
those are the
understand.
games that like I hate those games because that game and the Memphis game, the first game of the season, those are the two games that he did that the most in. If you take those games out, just take those games out and look at the rest of his season, it would look a lot better. His season would look like a lot better if you just take out the two games. So he cannot have those games. Those games are killers for his like averages and whatever. And I guess it doesn't matter because he signed his contract. But like, shit, man. Like for me,
It looks
as
bad
a
on
fan,
us.
yeah,
Yeah, because
I'm
we
trying
go
to-
hard for him.
look, I'm trying to go to that basketball reference page and see a nice
Yeah.
55 true shooting. That's all I'm trying to see there.
How do you
Right?
think I feel right now, bro?
When I'm arguing in Twitter threads and like people are pulling up like his like unassisted baskets and stuff like that percentage and like his turnovers on six, like it's like RJ, you're not making it easy for me, man.
Hey, man,
All right.
all I'm saying is over here in Julius Randle Island, he's on a good 58% really
All
living
right.
life right now.
All
I'm
right.
joking. Anyway, I honestly thought today was his best passing game. It felt like today was his best passing game, and I kind of felt like he knew it had to be his best passing game because he wasn't able to do the things he normally does at the rim because he's been finishing strong at the rim so far. But like he was able to pass, manipulate defenses really well. 14 free throws obviously means that he was able to get to the paint at will, even though he wasn't able to convert much. But like, I feel like this was his best like slasher passing in terms of like playing his archetype. He played his archetype really well today, even though he wasn't able to convert on the opportunities. But yeah, like if he plays like that and he's healthy, I can buy into that.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, the thing that's really frustrating, I think, with just like RJ in general is, like, I know that in his head he feels like I have to be like a star, and like I get it. Like, of course you want him to be a star, you want him to develop into that, but like, I think he is viewing it as like I have to make these like off the dribble shots and like get to the rim and score like 30 a night. And in my head, I'm watching these games and I'm like, do you want to know how you could get pretty close to being a star by just making the right reads just
It's
making
super
basic
low
reads.
hanging fruit that he can
Yeah.
like pick
The
up.
passing stuff is the easiest one, like because he is collapsing defenses so consistently. It's like, dude, do you know that there are just open shooters around you? And I understand we're not shooting the three ball very effectively so far this year, but like, I don't care. Just make better decisions. Like
They're better. They're better than percentages as well. Like they're significantly better than percentages.
Yeah. And also like if he makes those reads, those are better quality shots. Guys will probably hit those at a higher clip. Like he's so close to being way more effective than he has been. It's like just on him to simplify.
He's in his head too much.
Yeah.
All right. Jordan Bub asks, can someone tell me what Randall did in the third quarter for him to play for Obi in the fourth quarter?
I wouldn't be surprised if Tim would have been like, oh, it's a rest thing. Like Obi's haven't played so many minutes in the third and the fourth quarter. Like he didn't do anything. Like the only benefit to playing Randall in the fourth quarter would have been because you played him next to Obi and Hartenstein gave you nothing, and because Sims was in foul trouble. That's the only logic I could think of. But like,
and I actually would like that because we saw at the end of that the Philly game, like whatever, yes, defensive issues, rebounding issues, blah blah. Yes, they will all exist. But like when you put Brunson in an offense where like, is Randall the best floor spacing five? No, but like that lineup has the most space that you're probably going to get for this team. That is like a lineup that Tibbs might conceivably play. We saw like Brunson with space, like bro, there's not a team that can keep him out of the paint and stop him from getting like the shots that he wants. He's just got way too much in his bag, and it's kind of like a cheat code if you are willing to use it. But we have the one coach in the NBA who's like, this lineup might be very good offensively. I don't want to try that out.
I just like I don't get it. But yeah, that was the only context I would have wanted Randall on the floor in the fourth quarter. And I kind of like when he was in, I'm just like, oh, you're in, but Hartenstein's with you. So what are we doing here? I don't know.
It's hilarious. I tweeted about this earlier about how like Knicks fans, they're so like zoomed in on our like situation, like they don't realize how many other coaches in the league would like do so many things differently. Like I had someone ask me today, like what other coach would start Obi over Randall, and it's like there are plenty. They would just look at the data and they would make their decisions based on that. But we have the one coach that says he looks at the data, but doesn't actually look at it and does his own bullshit. But yeah.
Yeah, man, Jalen Brunson is going like Todd Thibodeau should be giving like game checks to Jalen Brunson and Emmanuel quickly, like daily. Because whenever this team needs a bailout or whenever this team needs to get shit going, it's just kind of like Jalen Brunson here. And for whatever reason, he's been making it work. He's going to parlay it into like an all-star berth, hopefully. But like, man, Tom Thibodeau is just holding this team back. Like, and once again, we're getting into a situation where it's like nobody in the team's getting optimized. And I really do not like the fact that it's been 3 years running with that. And 2 of the 3 years, he's had like an all-star level fulcrum to like hide some of those mistakes. But now it's just like it's harder to hide because just the talent level of like the league is getting higher, and we aren't able to match it as effectively in the starting lineup and with our creators.
Yeah. Jordan Bub says, okay, here we go. Here's a good one. IQ on defense that was so, I guess, disruptive, I guess this was supposed to say, and aggressive, caused so many turnovers for Utah. And when the shots start to fall, that's potentially perennial 6th man of the year candidate.
No, man, he's just an Alonzo Trier with some braids in his hair. Like
what you call it? There was a tweet today that like talked about like since 2020-21 leaders in plus minus. It's like a bunch of stars in the NBA, and then there's like Emmanuel quickly like right in the middle there. And it's hilarious because like if you ask the average Knicks fan or like one of the older Knicks fans, they'll be like, "Oh, he's just a garbage." Like
if you ask the old head thread, if you ask the old head thread,
yes, if you ask the old head thread, they'll be like, "He's just a garbage bench guy,
shot chucker."
He's a shot chucker. He doesn't like Cam Reddish. Like
trade him for Cam Thomas. We need real hoopers. Dude, the most like so Obi Toppin right now, he's shooting 42.5%, 42.4% from 3. Okay.
Wow.
This is from Andrew Claudio. Obi Toppin is now shooting 42.4% from 3 on 8.5 attempts per 36 minutes. Okay. This front office, guess what? In their first draft, they basically hit a fucking home run. Okay? And I know there are people who will be like, oh, they could have drafted Desmond Bane. It's like, all right, if that's what we're going to do, if we're going to be like, oh, they
could have drafted, they should have drafted.
Bane. Yeah, like if we're going to do that, okay, they basically hit a home run with this draft. And we're in year 3 of these guys, and they want to just keep them in these like 25 to 20 minute max type of roles and not see what they can do with bigger minutes, with bigger responsibility, with more on their plate. And it is so stupid and it's so frustrating because it's like you guys did the hard thing. You did the hard part. Like you did the part of picking good players in the draft. Good job. Now fucking play them. Now prioritize playing them. Like, look, I'm as sick as anybody. You know, every time Memphis is on my TV, you got to hear about how
I was just about to bring up Memphis and how they actually prioritize opening up room for their young guys. They opened up room this offseason for guys like John Conchar and Santi Aldama, whoever the hell they are, to actually get minutes to see what they can do. And they're productive rotation players in Memphis's rotation on a winning basketball team.
Yeah. And it's just really frustrating that and look, the worst part is, you know, is the Grimes thing. Like, because we don't know. We have no idea if Grimes is healthy or if he got held out for medical reasons or if Tibbs is just being a fat boomer. Like, we don't know what's going on. But, like even if he's healthy, even if he's cleared to play, we already know he's not going to start now, which is fine, by the way, because Cam's playing well. So Cam, that's fine. I'm not shitting on Tibbs for that. But we also know that like that Grimes will only play like 15 minutes a night, and it's just like, and not just that, like even in situations where let's say you're playing a team that's playing super small, you have a coach who will never actually match that. Right. So like in those situations where maybe you could play Grimes more, extend him more minutes because you want to play small or something, or you're like he won't do that. So it's just like you really have to be way more aggressive about clearing roster spots than they have been and clearing minutes and clearing roles for these guys. And like this is why I was concerned about Derrick Rose still being here with quick like because to me, by the end of last year, I was like, we don't need Derrick Rose at all.
Nope.
Like I was ready to just roll the ball out there quickly at starting point guard and see what happened. I'm fine with them signing Jalen Brunson because Jalen Brunson's been really good and he's in his prime years. So like, cool. But once you sign Jalen Brunson, that's why it became so important to move Derrick Rose to me, especially if you're going to bring back Tibbs.
It's so like, redundant and not. At first, it seemed redundant, but now it just seems like totally unnecessary because like Derrick Rose looks like washed half the time or more than half the time. So it's just like, why is he even playing? Like, these are charity minutes.
I'll give him respect. He had a decent game today, but like,
he did, but he's getting charity minutes.
Yeah, like and it's just like I just did like the bench should really be IQ, Grimes, Obi, and Sims. Like it works. It makes sense. They run.
You're making too much sense for Tom Thibodeau.
I mean, I just
even if you just look at somebody like Deuce, okay. Am I clamoring for Deuce to get minutes? Not really. Like, I tweeted this out yesterday. I would like to see him get a shot over a Rose if it came to that. But, like, I'm not dying to see Deuce McBride get minutes. But the point is, like I think many other coaches would have at least given him a shot at some point this year. And last year, you look it up, him and Quickly played 306 minutes. And, yes, there are like some of these really weird blowouts and whatever. But it's like they had like a plus 20 net rating. Do I think they're going to be do I think they're going to maintain that net rating over a longer sample? Like, no, I don't.
I don't know. It's Emmanuel Quickly.
Yeah, but that's encouraging, and you should want to see more of that. And like we have games where those two, and obviously not just those two, but those two helped, along with others, key massive turnarounds, key victories. And I just don't really like. You're not going to discover and lean into and explore any of these things with Tibbs as the coach. And, you know, look, Jordan Bub said this, and I do think it's worth saying. IQ on defense tonight was so disturbed and aggressive, causing so many turnovers for Jazz. And when the shots start to fall, that is potentially perennial 6-man of the year candidate. I don't care. If the shot starts to fall consistently, this dude is like basically an all-star in hiding in plain sight. Like that is the level of impact you're talking about right now. Because he's shot like absolute crap this year, and he's a massive plus. Because his defense is that good. He is that on point. He is that
rebounding, distributing, like it's all there.
That left-hand pass he made to Jericho Sims, that's probably the best pass I think anybody on the Knicks has made this year. That pass was insane. That was awesome.
Maybe like the Mitch pass, like in overtime against like the Hornets, where like he basically like fakes him out. But like, yeah, that pass from Quickly was nuts.
Yeah, it was, and he actually was. I'm amazed that Wally was able to figure this out because it's Wally. But he was like, yeah, he used his offhand the entire time, and it was But like, I mean, look, I actually DM'd this to Prez after the OKC game, but I was like, I think Quickly, like, I think he's fine now. Like, I think he got out of whatever the hell he was in because he wasn't like one of the things that's been really annoying at the start of this year is how dependent Quickly has been on like getting screens to try and then like create. And I thought the OKC game was the first time that he was just like rejecting screens or just not even calling for one and cooking guys in ISO. And it's like that's what we saw at the end of last year. And that was where you were like, oh shit, like
he's taking a step.
Yeah, this is a massive step. And so it's kind of annoying to not see that. It was annoying to see that at the start of this year. But so the last two games, and then today, I thought, you know, he didn't have like a massive scoring game, but some of his moves off the bounce, like he was just cooking some dudes. He had one on Walker Kessler where he absolutely froze him, which made me happy because Breen and Wally were talking about Walker Kessler, like, you know, he was prime Bill Russell or something.
Wally just could not get enough of Walker Kessler. He's like, I had a man crush on him last year in college. It's like, all right, dude, let's relax. It's a basketball game. Like
Walker Kessler, of all people that have a man crush on, is like the most white trailer park trash ass take you can have. Like that is straight up like I voted for Trump.
He did. He's for like lives on Long Island. He definitely voted for Trump, dude. Like,
as somebody who lived on Long Island, he definitely did.
Is that your way of admitting that you voted for Trump?
No. Just because I'm in Texas doesn't mean I'm voting for Trump.
You're voting for DeSantis.
Relax.
No, the other thing too, like I talked about the 2020 draft. They nailed that draft. Like 2021 Grimes, I think he's really good. I think he should be in the rotation, hopefully at some point. But like Jericho Sims, they got him at the 58th pick, and this dude is out here like he's a legitimate NBA player. He's a guy who can get you a double-double on a given night. Some of his decisions when he's like protecting the rim are really interesting. But like he's got like real NBA rotation minutes. Like he's got real ability. I just like they've drafted well, which is why like it's frustrating that they seem so content with Tibbs's kind of approach and giving him the freedom to do what he wants.
Shitting all over their product, basically.
Yeah, it's really, really frustrating. And it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, I kind of like, I'm at the point where I'm like, can we just fire them if they're not going to fire Tibbs? But then I'm also like, I like that we have a front office that seems to be able to draft players. Like, I don't know if I don't want to. So it's a weird thing, but, yeah, I mean, look, we'll just have to see, I guess. But the thing is, like, their drafting has been pretty solid. They still have Rokas, who will probably come over in a year or 2 years. He looks like a player for everything that people have said in Spain. Like they drafted pretty well, all things considered. Like the one guy that you would say that you're not sure is, over a longer sample would be an NBA caliber rotation player is Deuce. But like I've seen enough from Deuce where I'm still intrigued by him. But like
Javon Carter.
Sorry, say it again.
He could be like a Javon Carter-esque kind of player.
Maybe he's got to play with more force. Like I'm like, how are you a football player? Like why do you play like
softest football player ever?
Yeah, like why do you just play so soft on offense? But then on defense, he'll be like this pest.
He was a quarterback, so like they're pretty soft.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Not my quarterback though. My quarterback gets in there. We're not talking about your quarterback though.
Yeah, I don't think my quarterback's problem is his toughness. But
thanks for baseball.
Yeah, but I mean, look, it's just this is the frustrating thing, and it's like this game was really fun. I'm happy the Knicks won. I'm especially happy they won in against the Utah Jazz and Danny Ainge. Like I'm happy about all that, but it's like all the issues that like
this doesn't hide those issues.
Yeah, like whatever I thought 20 minutes before the game.
And it's funny thing too. Yeah. I saw someone tweet, and I quote tweeted them. I was like, "There's no way you're drawing a conclusion after one half of basketball." I'm gonna pull up the tweet right now so I can read it. Here's what they said. Everyone got their jokes off this morning, but it looks like to me the players' meeting held last night has lit a fire under this team. This is the defense I envisioned before the season started. Not perfect, but much improved in all caps. # New York forever. I will not say the person's I will not give them the publicity that they would want with this tweet.
I said I quote tweeted it, so you could just look it up.
Yeah, they could just look on my just look on my feed. I'm not saying their name on the feed. Like you got to go through all the extra work. But yeah, this person, I was like, are you like? Do we not know with this basketball team? Have we not watched like just last year? Like players only meeting is not going to fix the issues of this team. Sure, it was nice to get a win. It was nice to see them play with defensive urgency. It was nice to see them, play a consistent, I guess, relatively 48 minutes tonight. But like, is this something that we're going to see every night? No. Like tomorrow we face Denver in high altitude on a back-to-back. Like, do you think they're going to be running around the court like that? I don't think so. Like, I would love for them to do that, but like, we know who this team is. They've shown us who they are. We know who they are. So,
in fairness, Jokic is out, so they probably win that game. But like, then again, Zeke Miyagi might go off for like 40. So who knows?
They still got Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. So
Michael Porter Jr. is not moving me.
Yeah,
he moved the Bulls the other day.
I mean that's
the Bulls.
Yeah, that happens.
Are we that much better?
Yeah, but that's the Bulls.
Well, like the Bull, it's so funny. Like I've seen way too many people just being like, "Oh, the Knicks are in purgatory," and there's like that, and it's like I kind of get that, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't think that's accurate. Like, I'm not saying like we have the greatest position in the NBA, but it's like I think purgatory is actually where the Bulls are. But people like seem to like love their team. It's like, oh, they have Levine and DeRozan, they have stars, and it's like, okay, they have stars, and they're 7-7. Like, who cares? Right? Like who cares?
They have
like
stars and like their benches, Andre Drummond, Goran Dragic.
Wow. Sacramento won this game 153-121 against Brooklyn. So a lot of good defense being played by the Knicks. Happy that firing Steve Nash fixed them.
That somehow makes our loss to them look even way worse.
Yeah. We're still early enough in the season where some of this stuff is just weird. Like this Utah win feels awesome right now because they're 10-5, and like I still kind of think they're gonna end up being really bad.
Like they're probably gonna be like a 35 win team. So
yeah, I still think they're gonna end up being pretty bad, and I'm pretty sure at some point soon Danny Ainge is gonna be like, yeah, this was cool, but I'm trading.
Time to tank.
Yeah, I'm literally trading. Like I would trade Markkanen and Sexton right now if I were him. But
their value is at their highest that it's going to be.
Sexton absolutely sucked tonight, by the way. He was so bad. Quickly owned him.
Young bull let me down.
Yeah, quickly fucking owned him. Is he still using whitening cream? Do you know about that? Down Sexton?
No, I heard it was like an acne cream that just had like an adverse side effect.
Is that what it was? Is that what he used? Is that it's so funny because like they have that shit in India too. So I'm like, I know what that is, bro. Like my grandma, she was all about that. Yeah, no, I know what that
Sammy
is.
Sosa.
Yeah, no. You gotta be light skinned. We like light skinned people here. That's what you want to be. That's the qualities you're looking for. That was my grandma growing up. Like, you played soccer all summer. You got really dark. Use this cream.
I swear, like every immigrant family has someone that did that. Like, it's insane.
Or your grandparents don't hold your nose together so that way your nose doesn't look as big. Like I've got that a few times. They just say, you gotta hold your nose, you gotta fix your nose.
Tyrese, this is a good question for you though here from Jordan Bub. What would happen when I think that's a good dude, I'm like
we know what's gonna happen. Sims is gonna get benched. They're gonna
I really like Sims, dude. I don't know. I know that he's hasn't really played that well until the last couple of games, but I just think he gives you something you don't have.
I would just not play Hartenstein.
He's an insane leaper. I feel like that's that vertical threat is really useful off the bench.
I just cannot get behind.
Especially if you're not going to use Hartenstein the way that we're supposed to.
If you're not going to play Hartenstein the way he needs to be played, then why are you playing Hartenstein over Sims when Sims does the role better?
That you envisioned, yeah.
It just makes no sense to me. So I would when Mitch comes back, Hartenstein's going to go back to the bench, and Sims is going to be the third string, and the bench unit is going to be the bench unit. The starters are going to be the starters.
Hockey shifts, all that good stuff.
It's the same old song.
All that bad stuff.
We know it's going to happen. So it's not even a question. I wish there was a different answer, but there's not.
Someone named Kobe. Well, we were talking about the Bulls. What would this team look like? Running D'Antoni ball. Well, I would think you'd see a lot more. You definitely see more of the lineups that we would like to see in terms of more wings out there with Obi, or more wings out there with
Jalen Brunson would be a monster. Jalen Brunson with the Chris Duhon juice would be
I think we would see small ball a lot more. This guy was comfortable running PJ Tucker at center. The possibilities with this Knicks team would be endless.
You would literally see Cam center lineups. You would see Brunson, IQ, Grimes, RJ Cam, and they would literally just go, we're going to just run around. And honestly, that lineup isn't too bad.
That sounds fun.
Like, it would
That's a lot of shooting.
Like, it
and
would
defense.
absolutely get killed on the boards, but like you could switch everything with that lineup. That's a pretty fun lineup. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, like
That's what
it'd
the
be
Infinity Ball would look like.
it would be interesting though. It would be interesting.
Should we bring D'Antoni home?
No, keep the man on his farm.
Yeah, I don't. I've never been a huge D'Antoni guy, but like, I would if he was like willing to be like an offensive coordinator for a coach or something like that. I would love to do that.
Yeah,
but you know, I don't think you like. We're seeing it right now with Utah. Like you're seeing it with a bunch of coaches on the league. You don't need D'Antoni. Like D'Antoni is fine and wonderful, I'm sure, but like go.
Good guy.
You can just. Why can't you try to identify a good young coach? You know, like is Johnny Bryant?
One.
Yeah, maybe they have one, and this is like another reason where it's like players and coaches. At the end of the day, once you know what they are. Like you want stars, right? That applies to coaches too. You want an elite coach. Once you know a coach isn't elite and you know what their limitations are and what their strengths and weaknesses are, you can move on. Like we know what Tibbs is. Tibbs isn't like the dumbest coach in the NBA, but like the things he does, he's never going to change them significantly. And that puts a cap, that puts a ceiling on how far you're going to get with him. You know, that's just the reality of it. You're not getting, even if you put a great roster on the team, he's never going to be the guy to lead it to a championship. He's not, because he doesn't have the quick-wittedness in game to move the margins in his favor, to work the margins. Is Johnny Bryant that guy? I have no idea. I couldn't tell you if he is or not. But that's why you kind of have an opportunity to see it if you fire Tibbs, let's say, by like game, 25, 30 games in, if you fire him, now you're talking about, okay, you're going to get 52 to 57 games of Johnny Bryant coaching the team. You're not going to learn everything that you would ever possibly be able to learn about him as a coach, but you're going to learn a lot over that time. And you're going to be able to make a very educated decision on, hey, look, is he good enough that we should just roll with this guy as the interim or as a permanent head coach after this year? Or do we need to do a full coaching search? And like, that I think is worth pursuing and worth doing, because if you dump Tibbs, like we've talked about this, but like Tibbs is never going to get a head coaching job in the NBA again. It's never going to happen. Yeah, so you're not giving up on a coach who is like, oh my God, but what if we just didn't, what if it's our fault? We didn't put the right pieces around him and we gave up a real keeper. Like that's just not going to be the case. He's not going to get another head coaching job in the NBA. So I don't really get the huge downside and all this stuff. Like I don't think he's moving margins in a way that's like influencing and giving us more victories than we should have. So I've been saying this since last year. I will continue to say this. I think they should fire Tibbs. But if they don't, at some point, that falls on them too, and they are putting themselves in a dangerous position.
How do we feel before we get into talking about tomorrow's matchup? How do we feel about the I saw today the article from The Ringer from about like two years ago about the steps in which like Thibs teams go through. How do we feel about the step that we are up to? We're up to step 4, which is players only meetings.
The seat is on fire.
Hopefully.
Like it kind of feels like everybody kind of knows it's gonna happen soon. I think Tibbs kind of knows himself it's gonna happen soon. But like he basically didn't play Fournier today. Like he's starting to shorten the rotation a bit. I think he's starting to like grasp at straws.
It's reeking of desperation.
I think by like, let's say December 1st, I think he's gone.
Okay.
I mean, look, I think this West Coast trip is going to end up saving him. It's going to end up buying him way too much time.
You think so?
I mean, look, let's look at it this way, all right? Let's look at the schedule, right?
Denver.
They won tonight, so they're 7-7, okay?
Yeah.
They get Denver tomorrow without Nikola Jokic and Bones Highland and maybe no Aaron Gordon.
Wow.
That could be like, I mean, they could still definitely lose that game. Don't get me wrong.
Dude, if
But
they lose to DeAndre Jordan, fire him. Just
Fire him at
out.
halftime. Fire him at
They
halftime.
nearly lost to fucking Montrezl Harrell and Paul Reed. I promise you, they can lose to DeAndre Jordan's corpse and whatever the hell else Denver has. Then you get the Warriors on Friday, who they have done the smart thing of no longer playing James Wiseman NBA minutes, so they should like that's probably a loss. And then you get the Suns on Sunday, but like, I mean, the Suns
No Cam Johnson to bury us this time.
And the Suns have been like they started off really hot, but they've been shaky lately. And then you get the Thunder on Monday, and it's like I know the Thunder just put up 145 on us, but it's like I could see the Knicks winning that game. Like that's not like inconceivable a game that you'd be like, no, there's no way they can do that one. I don't know. I worry like if you get the Nuggets one and then you get the Thunder one, that let's say you lose the other two, you're sitting at 9-9 after this brutal West Coast trip, right? And then he gets 3 days off in between, until they play the Trailblazers on Friday, so 4 days actually. I don't know. I think this goes to like New Year's, maybe. But
that's too long.
I
might hurt someone.
You're telling me, man.
I'm so serious. That's way too long. I can't do it. All right. So here we go. All right. How good do you guys think Cam can be? Some think we might be in the midst of his breakout. I saw a lot of tweets today saying he might be the most talented player on the Knicks.
I might have to swallow a lot of crow.
I was like, well, let's slow down, everyone. Let's slow down. But I do like how he's been playing as of late. So
he's gonna get a bag.
Bag off of 2 games.
Dude, you know wings get paid. Wings get paid, bro.
All right, but like I just want to see a consistent stretch, a longer
absolutely,
stretch.
But like so far in the season, I'm gonna pull up his stats. Like for the season, he's at he's at 9.5, 2 rebounds, but he's shooting a good old actually 56 true shooting. Like he had that one like 0 for a game that like kind of knocked his true shooting out of whack, but like otherwise, like the dude is finishing at the paint. He's cut out a lot of the mid-range shots. He's able to like manipulate defenses now, especially attacking closeouts. And like his defense has been stellar so far, especially with his ability to get into passing lanes. Like he just had, remember he had like one steal tonight where he basically just came out of nowhere and just did that. So
I'm gonna say something gross, but like this is actually like I know that we just dumped on Tibbs a bunch, but like I think he's actually been good for Cam. I think he's good at developing guys. He's good at getting guys to get better on defense. And like it's been fun to like dump on him and like, the Thunder scored 145. Like I still don't think like I'm not really that super concerned about the defense because like the Thunder game just looked like one of those games where that kind of happens sometimes in the NBA where like you're just like, yeah, nobody's gonna try on defense today. Cool, whatever. Like
I feel like this happens way too much with our team though.
Yeah. I mean it wasn't great. I didn't love it. And I do think there's like his kind of inflexibility schematically is probably, but because of that inflexibility schematically, I think you see guys like Cam who now they've been in this system, they know exactly what they're supposed to do, or not that they know exactly, but like they're so drilled in doing the same things over and over and over and over again. Yeah, you get better at it and you become a better defender because of that. And so like I think you're seeing that with Cam. I think his awareness is better. He still falls asleep trailing 3-point shooter sometimes, but like to Tyrese's point, he's so long that he can still contest. He can still affect those plays. He gets, he deflects passes all the time. He's in the passing lanes. He had a really nice recovery block today too. I think was that in the first half? In the first half, yeah. And like, look, he's a 6'8" wing man with a 7'1" wingspan. Like at the end of the day, like you can't. Those guys are with those dimensions are just hard to find.
It is hard to fuck up being 6'8" and 7'1", dude. Like it's hard, and if he's gonna play like that, then like, who's to say he doesn't get like an MLE, like a full MLE from somewhere? I think that might be like what you're looking at right now. I saw like a report that basically said that was his market, and like if he's gonna play like this, then you're looking at like 12 to 14 a year because like he's just solid, efficient, good two-way player. Like that's what happens with role players in the league; they get paid. But yeah, like he's playing really well, and to your point, like I think Tibbs helps development a lot because like I think Tibbs gets guys to play at an NBA level.
Yeah, yeah.
That's like his biggest calling cards as a coach. Like he's able to maximize dudes for better or for worse because like DJ Augustine, like he they had a fucking playoff team with DJ Augustine like running point and Nate Robinson running point. Keith Bogan's playing like a significant role. Like he's able to get guys to the point where they're able to play in the NBA, but when you want them to like take the next step, he's usually not the person for that ride. So like, yeah, he's probably the best thing for Cam right now because Cam needed to be told, hey, you're not taking that shot. You are going to sit here in the corner, you're going to fill lanes, and you're going to play defense. And this is what's going to get you a second contract in the league that's not Kevin Knox based. So like Tibbs makes a lot of sense for him. He makes a lot of sense for Tibbs on the roster right now. He's providing like a lot of the event generations that the team's been missing, especially with his turnovers. His ability to like contest at the POA has gotten better. I just feel like he's been on a really solid role defensively, and now the offense is starting to pick up as well. And yeah, like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You just gotta hope that like he continues to play like this and he doesn't see himself as like Paul George again. But if he's gonna be a star in his role, like this, then like what more can you say about him? Like, he's playing really, really well.
Yeah, you definitely want him to stay contained within that role because he's thriving in it. I've seen some shots. I've seen he's taken. I think he took like one mid-range shot maybe once. But I think that's when he was just like really feeling himself against like OKC.
He took two, but he like hit them both.
He hit them both, right?
Yeah.
So if he's feeling himself, I just don't want him to get too much in that mode of like, hey, I'm Paul George now. Let me just like take all these other shots.
I think he's actively picked
his spots.
Like today there were 3 or 4 or 5 times in this, especially in the second end of the second quarter and then into the second half, where like he easily, you could tell his brain was like, oh man, it's Cam time, and then like he stopped and then just swung the ball to somebody. Like he was like about to like go into his behind the back,
dribble combo,
bullshit step back, all that nonsense. But he like was about to, then he'd be like, okay, sorry, give it to Jalen Brunson and get the hell out of the way. All right, give it to Julius Randle, or else he might cry and piss his pants if I don't give him the ball. You can see like he's consciously trying to make smarter decisions, and I think you're seeing that also with his shot distribution, right? I think he's basically like Daryl Morey. If you showed Daryl Morey his shot chart, he might be willing to just like trade you Tyrese Maxey for him at this point or something. Like he's like his shot chart is so clean right now.
It's pristine.
Yeah, it's literally just shots at the rim, free throws, and threes. That's about it. And not just threes, like mostly corner threes too.
Yeah, he has been hooping the way that like Daryl Morey envisioned. Like this is Daryl Morey's utopia.
Oh,
to hammer home that point, right now, he is taking 37% of his shots at the rim. He's taking another 15% of his shots in like floater range, and he is taking 5% of his shots in the mid range. And then he's up to 42% of his shots as threes. Beforehand, his career rate is like 12% of his shots. So like he cut his shots effectively by less than half in the mid range. And as a result, he's significantly more efficient, and he's become basically the best version of himself as like a role player. Like he's OG Anunoby light, and he's shooting 55% from the corners. So there you have it. Cam is Daryl Morey's wet dream.
Tyrese is Cam fam now. Interesting development to the season.
I feel disgusting.
I think this is where we can leave off for today. We do have Denver tomorrow, so we'll be back on tomorrow.
Yay.
Or not even tomorrow, but the day after, since the game will end at midnight.
Oh yeah, tomorrow's even later. It's 9:30 tip off.
10.
Oh god.
Yeah, I hate those. I'm gonna take a nap actually before the game, just so I can like stay up and watch it because I'll be like knocked out if I don't. That's what working with pre-K students will do to you. But yeah, we'll be back the day after tomorrow to recap the Denver game.
Oh guys, real quick. Ben Simmons cracked double figures for the first time today. So
Wow, it
He's done
happened in a
miracles.
blowout.
He did
Some
it.
people predicted it would happen in a blowout win, and it did. Not a blowout win, but a blowout game, and it did. Wow.
That
I wonder
he
what
is
that odds were
easily
for that, like plus 250.
he's easily gonna be the worst contract in the league, right?
who?
Like what? Simmons.
Simmons.
Ben
He's-
Simmons? Well, I would trade our worst contract for Ben Simmons in like 5 seconds.
Seriously?
Yeah, because it's shorter.
Is it?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he's only got 2 years left on that thing.
Brian Benjamin is here. You are alive. You didn't add comments before the stream, but he said Obi couldn't get 20 minutes. No, he could not. You know how it goes around here.
Okay, it's 3 years versus 4 years, but yeah.
Oh, I thought it was much shorter, but
Yeah, but we could do the Randall and Fournier for Ben Simmons swap. And the best part is Ben Simmons doesn't want to play. So he'd be happy. He'd be like, great. This guy's not going to play me more than 7 minutes a half. Backing up Obi Toppin? Perfect. This is fantastic. This is exactly what I want. And he's never going to play me at the 5. Great. I love it.
Oh man, Brian Benjamin, I see you have finally arrived in the chat, but we are closing up shop tonight. Thank you for joining us. Thank you everyone for joining us. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe. We are on our way to 1K subs. We will be back the day after tomorrow to recap the Denver Nuggets game. Hopefully it is a win, or maybe you're hoping that it's a loss so that way Thibs gets fired sooner. I don't know. But check out everything Strickland related in the description. We have links to the site, Patreon, merch, and Twitter. All great ways to support us, all different ways to support us. Do as you please with that information. We will be back after the Denver game. See you then. Peace.